Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. It's a Friday, so we're going to have a little fun. We're going to do a little Atlanta Falcons game-by-game record prediction ahead of this college football weekend. First NFL Sunday of the season, Thursday and Friday night game. Everything. You got everything you could want as a football. We got Monday Night Football. There's only a couple days these days that we don't get football.
We got football next Tuesday. I don't remember who's playing, but next Tuesday.
I mean,
there's college football on.
It's beautiful. I couldn't add more. Keep giving us more of it. And I'm glad that it's become more of the norm, right? That screw it. Let's just put it every day. Like it used to be like, no, we don't have it Fridays. They're high school football. All right, listen, I know there's high school football junkies out there, and that's no disrespect to you. A lot of respect to those kids. I want to watch NFL. I put it on every single day. I want college football. I want everything. You know, it used to be straight dedicated. Monday, Tuesday, Maction, everything. Give it to me all. I love how it's becoming more normal, and I wouldn't be surprised if in not too long we're talking 7 days a week. We got some football games.
I mean, what is it on like the fourth day God created football?
Yeah, I mean
something like that.
Yeah, or the 8th day, whatever it is. He rested, woke up, and realized we need more football.
There's 7 days. As you can see, I didn't pay attention in school.
So we'll start with the week one match. We'll spend a little more time on that because that's the game that we have this weekend, and that's the focus on it. How do you see this one shaking out, my guy?
It's going to be close. I mean, both of the games last year were close, so it's not like Falcons fans should reasonably expect us to show up and absolutely whip the Bucs' tail. I mean, they're 4-time defending division champs for a reason, going for a record 5th time. I heard that today. No team in the NFC South has ever won 5 in a row. That's with Matt Ryan here for a decade, Drew Brees here for a decade plus. Like, that's pretty incredible to think about.
Well, for a while there, and I believe, there was a 7 or 8 years.
New team
there was
every
a new
year.
Because you had Cam Newton, it was like the Panthers would win, and then the Falcons would win, and then the Saints would win, and that happened for like a 7-8 year cycle.
The history of the NFL says that no team is really, unless you're Tom Brady, is going to win a Division 5 straight.
He was
times.
part of this.
Yes, that is true, but this is Baker Mayfield we're talking about, and I do love me some Baker Mayfield, but the Falcons swept them last year. I mean, the Falcons should have won the division last year. And the only reason our win total is so low and we're underdogs in week 1 at home is because of the unknown. That is Michael Penix. Well, I know. The more I listen to this guy talk, the more I see these throws, the more I'm confident that this guy's going to be it. He's got the bravado. He's got the physical talent. He's got every single thing that you could possibly want in an NFL franchise as a franchise quarterback. I'm just ready to see it come to fruition on Sunday. The only thing that I'm weary of is if Michael Penix Jr. scores too early, late in the game, and gives Baker Mayfield, a minute 30, 2 minutes to go down and lead a game-winning drive, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal. That's where I'm less certain. That's where I'm less certain about all these new faces, this new defensive coordinator, which I think by season's end could be actually stronger than the offense. But week 1, I'm not quite sure. The hope is, ideally, we see them come up with a game-winning stop or turnover.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but Bijan Robinson had some encouraging words. And we talk about Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris being salespeople, that they could sell you anything. Bijan Robinson ain't far behind. He'd probably be just as good at sales as he is at forcing guys to miss tackles on the open field, because he's up there and he speaks eloquently, and he's just like, hey, Elijah Wilkinson's got this. Like, he's got this, man. He's a beast. He started for the Bears back in the day.
Dude, he is hilarious.
He started for the Bears back in the day, and he told us, man, he's like, hey, I don't care what anyone else is saying about me. Like, I'm going to go out there and prove it. And it's like, yeah, that's all narratives, man. You got this. Like, yeah. It's great. I mean, it sounded great. I wanted to believe, but we're all being honest about what Elijah Wilkinson is. And this is a guy that hasn't started tackle since 2021. And there's a reason for that. And then he got pushed into guard and he still wasn't starting. He was just kind of like a reserve, unless he was starting for the Falcons, in which he didn't perform well. This is an absolute desperation out of necessity. So that's what I'm going to be watching all early in this game. But I do think both sides are going to have to deal with some things that they're going to have to overcome. Both sides are dealing with some injuries. I do think we talked about it yesterday. It's going to be a lower scoring game than I think a lot of what we saw last year, was fireworks. It was fireworks between these two teams. I'm expecting the defenses to get after a little bit. Both teams have some pretty good front seven. We at least hope we have an improved front seven. So I'm expecting a lower scoring game in this way. And I think it really comes down to one thing. Who can protect the quarterback better? Who can protect the quarterback? Because there are going to be plays to be made. Michael Penix, if he has time, we know what he can do. They're going to, the Falcons, if they can protect Michael Penix and they feel confident, maybe in the second half, feel confident in their game plan to protect him and they can attack this Bucs secondary. This is a guy that averaged 10.1 yards per attempt. That is ridiculous. That led the NFL in its final three starts.
Per attempt or per completion?
Per attempt.
That's insane.
So, this is a guy who I believe, either way, it led the NFL.
I'd say per completion.
They want to push the ball down the field with Michael Penix Jr., Drake London, hopefully Darnell Mooney plays. We don't have word on that yet. And if they can protect him, I think they're going to have a lot of success. But I think it's vice versa, right? If the Falcons can't get this hopefully newfound pass rush working in the first game of the season, which shouldn't come as a surprise. I mean, I expect Baker Mayfield to go out there and have a field day as well.
I'm excited. When the Bills come to town, might not have, a so-called home field advantage. That shouldn't be the case in week one. There might be less Bucs fans than Falcons fans out there. I mean, the Bucs are 4-time division champs, and you can go to a game in Tampa Bay for $34 and sit in the 100 level. And that's no spite. I mean, Tampa's just not exactly known as a sports city, but we should have an home field advantage this year or this week one. We should not like the Steelers last year. We should have a home field advantage. There is no excuse not to come out of week one with a win. You have got to win your division matchups at home. You cannot lose this game and then be forced into a situation where it's either win in Tampa Bay or you do not have a playoff spot. You cannot lose this game. It's that simple. Whatever you have to do, scratch, claw, fight, cheat, pay the rest. I don't give a damn. You have to win week one.
Yeah, I like the Falcons in this game. We'll get to the prediction, but I think they're going to win this game. And it reminds me, I just keep, as we're talking about this, because to me, this is really Michael Penix's first start. I know he started 3 games, but this is the first time it's like he's got the reins. He's going to lead us to the promised land, or we're going to fall right down there with him. And I remember when Matt Ryan had his first start, and his first pass was to Michael Jenkins, who we had on Fox 5 not too long ago for an 80-yard touchdown. And we went on to beat the lowly Detroit Lions at the time, not so lowly anymore. And then we went on and made the playoffs 11-5, and the rest was history. 6 postseason appearances, 3 division titles, a Super Bowl berth, all over. And I believe Michael Penix is the next guy. And I believe it starts on Sunday. So I'm going to give the Falcons a close win. I do think it'll be lower scoring. I like 23-20 Atlanta on Sunday.
I was going to go 21-20. Michael Penix scores a touchdown with about 2 minutes left. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs offense has a timeout, maybe 2. Everybody in Atlanta is shaking, saying this is over. All they need is a field goal. They really only have to go in today's, NFL. You really only have to get like 40 yards, and today it's not 4 first downs. It's more like 2.5 first downs. And this Falcons defense, I'm just going to choose to be optimistic. I can be pessimistic on Monday, but Friday it's for optimism. Beers and optimism this Friday. I'm going to say James Pierce Jr. or Jalen Walker gets a pressure or a sack to help force something or for the final game, for the final play of the game.
I like that. I like Koo winning it on a game winner. Koo gets back on track.
Either way, I think we're going to be right.
Yeah. Both things happen.
Right.
Maybe that's an overtime thing. Yep. He gets us into overtime. Whatever happens, we both got the Falcons winning. What could go wrong? Of course, nothing's going to go wrong. We'll break down the rest of the schedule coming up after the break. We both have the Atlanta Falcons winning their Week 1 matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Sunday. And now we're going to predict the rest of the schedule. And to me, the key to the season is stay afloat in the first, especially without, Caleb McGarry and Storm Norton. Stay afloat. Find a way to 3-3. Maybe you're 4-2 or whatever. That would be amazing. But 3-3, even 2-4, you're not out of it, because the second half of the schedule, things get very, very manageable and a lot of good games at home against winnable opponents. And the Week 2 matchup against the Minnesota Vikings is one of those that does worry me a lot, because you do have, a fantastic defensive coordinator on the other side, a team that got over after the Falcons last year with a healthy offensive line. And now you're going to be down a 3rd string right tackle on Sunday Night Football. it's going to be a tough, and that's going to be another low-scoring affair.
Yeah, some absolute dogs on that Vikings defensive line. Danielle Hunter, Dallas Turner. I'm blanking on the other guy, but that is one that could get quite ugly for Michael Penix. And the entire game is going to be frustrating because all it's going to do is Michael Penix this, Michael Penix that, Kirk Cousins on the sideline. Michael Penix this, Michael Penix, Kirk Cousins on the sideline. We should have a drink meter. Every time they show Kirk Cousins on the sideline,
you won't wake up
on
Monday.
His headset. We should all take a shot, Falcons fans.
You won't,
and none of us are going to work on Monday.
Yeah,
none of us.
You will not wake up. I give them a loss there.
Yeah, I'm giving them a loss, and it has nothing to do with JJ McCarthy, who I think is going to have some struggles. He is another guy like Michael Penix set up to succeed. Kevin O'Connell, I'm going to go ahead and say it. He's the best offensive mind in football right now. And you've got Jay Jettas. You don't even have Jordan Addison because he's suspended. It doesn't really matter. That's how good Kevin O'Connell, this offensive line, and Jay Jettas is. So I'm going to go with a loss.
Yeah, but that is another opportunity, right? If the Falcons are going to win this game, for this defense to show up and really force some problems for JJ McCarthy, because there is the opportunity for the Falcons to win that game. You know, I think they're going to struggle scoring the ball, but you do have a rookie quarterback. And I agree with you, Kevin O'Connell. And that's why I'm putting my faith in just the coaching staff of the Vikings over the Falcons at home on Sunday night to get the win.
No reason you should.
And that's really all I'm putting my faith in, because
Brian Flores might be a better head coach than Raheem Morris.
Because I think the Vikings have just as many, probably even more questions on the offensive side of the ball, but they have a better head coach who's also their offensive coordinator, and they have Brian Flores, who's one of the better defensive coordinators in all of football. On the road against the Panthers in week 3, not easy to win these games. The Panthers beat us last time we faced them not long ago at home. But I'm giving the Falcons a win here.
Yeah, I'm not buying the Panthers are going to be frisky. They might be better than they were, but I'm not buying the frisky playoff just yet. And it has nothing to do with Bryce Young, who I have continually defended, even though Falcons fans might not want to hear it. This offense, and they have a barren roster. They have no talent whatsoever on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, it is going to be tragic to watch Bryce Young try and run around little mini-me back there and throw to these bums. I feel bad for him, honestly. So I'm going to give him a loss, and I do think it is going to be close. Falcons fans who are just writing the Panthers off, when is it ever going to be, easy win?
We said it yesterday. There's not many times the Falcons have ever had an easy win. Ever.
I can't think. Maybe when we broke Dak Prescott, that was it.
Yeah.
That was the last one I can really remember.
I mean, that's about it.
And we broke their starting quarterback.
Yeah. Then we get the Commanders. I actually feel pretty good about the Commanders one. This was a tight game last year that went into overtime. Obviously, the Falcons never got the ball back. This one's in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, a rematch of that game. I love Jaden Daniels, one of my favorite players in the league, probably my second favorite player outside of Joe Burrow, being an LSU guy. But I do think the Commanders are probably in for a bit of regression after a 12-win season. A road game. I just like the Falcons in this one.
What did we have this year that we didn't really have a lot of last year on the defensive side of the ball?
Athletes on the edge.
Athletes, speed at multiple positions. The nickel position, the second level. Divine Diablo is a speedster. It's speed on the edges. All of that is going to make it harder for Jaden Daniels to do what Jaden Daniels does. Now, beating you in the pocket has nothing to do with that. But him extending those plays where you do every single thing right and Jaden Daniels still beats you, Lamar Jackson does it, Josh Allen does it. It's the most frustrating thing in football when you do everything right and then that quarterback still finds a way to make a negative play into a zero or a net zero into a positive play. That'll be the difference this year from this Falcons defense to the last Falcons defense.
Sorry, are they getting a win or you're getting a win? There we go. 3-1. Buffalo at home. That's going to be a Monday night game?
Yes.
A Monday night game at home. There's no way I'm giving them a win over the Bills. I know the game. I know the game's in Atlanta. I know it's a Monday night game.
It's going to be a Buffalo game. It's going to be a Buffalo home game. And that's no disrespect to Falcons fans because they haven't given us a reason to show up. Don't go and spend your hard-earned money on those bums until they start winning. And again, those Bills fans don't really give a damn because they have nothing else to do. At least we have stuff to do in Atlanta. That's going to be a home game for the Bills, and I do believe it. I do think it's going to be one of those Chiefs games where it was close on that Sunday night football game against the Chiefs. We just, lost in the final seconds. I don't think the Falcons are going to get blown out or blow anyone out at all this year.
I'd love it to be close.
I think it's going to be close.
I'd love to have a chance to win, but there's no way I'm running through a schedule prediction and after watching the Falcons for years, and they could easily find a way to win. Don't get me wrong, and then make up the loss somewhere else. But I'm just going to go with the obvious thing here and pick the Buffalo Bills to win that game. And then they travel short week on the road to play, I believe, on Sunday night against the San Francisco 49ers. Actually, I know on Sunday night, short week. That's a loss. Yeah. You're not you don't travel short week across it's actually a BS schedule. I'm not going to lie.
Across the country.
It's total BS that you have a Monday night game and have to get on a plane and travel across the country and play a football game against a really, really good team, another primetime matchup. I mean, do you want good football in these games? Do you care at all, NFL? Like, it's BS. If the Falcons win that game, kudos to Raheem Morris. Kudos to the coaching staff. They deserve all the praise. Kudos to the players for getting themselves ready. But that's about as tall of an order as you can ask for.
I don't know why everybody is just not talking about the 49ers as a Super Bowl contender. I don't understand it. I mean, everybody's returning. Debo was a 0 for them last year. The only guy that's genuinely missing on that team that was a bit is Brandon Ayuk. And honestly, when you got Kyle Shanahan, who really gives a damn about all the weapons? He'll make weapons out of 7th-round picks. The biggest difference, they got Robert Saleh back. That defense is about to reestablish themselves as one of the best defenses in the league. I think it could be a long day for Zach Robinson.
I think if there is one game that I would say that's going to be a blowout,
I agree.
It would be this one.
I agree.
It would be this. It's just a tough task. It's just a tough task
against a really good defense. It's going to be a really good defense yet again.
Yeah,
I mean, Kyle
Nick
Shanahan.
Bosa, and let's say Storm Norton's not back. I mean, Nick Bosa is lining up across from Elijah Wilkinson all game. That's a bad one.
It's a Make-A-Wish kid out there trying to block.
That's where you get like
Nick Bosa.
That's where you get an Adrian Claiborne 6-sack game.
Yep.
You know, and we've seen those, and that's the thing when we talk about the Elijah Wilkinson situation and why we're worried about that. We've seen Atlanta Falcons. Vic Beasley, not long ago, 4.5 sacks against the Denver Broncos, completely wrecked that game. And Vic Beasley wasn't that good. That was against a third-string tackle. and not long ago, I don't even know if it might have been sooner, but around the same time, Adrian Claiborne went up against, the replacement left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys and had 6 sacks in one game. 6. And Adrian Claiborne was not neither of those players.
Say whatever you want about Vic, but listen, come on.
Neither of those players were absolute superstars. Is all
nowhere close to Nick Bosa.
And we're talking about that's what sometimes
we're gonna have Bosa's in back-to-back weeks. So we'll have Joey Bosa and the Bills, and then we'll have that could be a rough week for Elijah Wilkinson.
Yeah, I know it'll be a 6-day stretch, right? I mean. Jesus, my man. Jesus. Let's get to break. We're about halfway through the season. We'll talk about the rest of the schedule coming up after the break. Talking about the Atlanta Falcons schedule and giving our record predictions. We're at 3-3 right now, coming off back-to-back losses, and the Miami Dolphins come to town. I'm really low on the Miami Dolphins this year. I think the Mike McDaniel shtick that was fun. I mean, you hear every single player that comes out of that team that leaves is like, oh, they don't have a real coach. They don't have a real coach. And I think he's a good offensive mind, but I think it takes.
Bring him to Atlanta after he's fired.
No.
Okay.
As the OC, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. I think he's an OC.
Yeah.
I think that's what he is in this league. I think it takes a different kind of personality to lead men into war.
Certainly not a guy who wears capris.
Yeah, and went to Yale.
He went to Yale?
Yeah. Mike McDaniel went to Yale. So
what a dork.
I mean, yeah, he's a little boy genius over there. But I like the Falcons in this matchup. I think they're going to win this game. I think they bounce back. It's going to be one coming off 2 losses. Another one where you're traveling back across the country, and it's a shorter week given that you played on Sunday Night Football, but I think they win this game at home.
Yeah, me too.
And then you go on the road to the Patriots. Patriots, a lot of people are high on the Patriots. Mike Vrabel. Drake May obviously looked very good. They played a ton of competitive games last year, especially towards the end of the season, gave the Bills a run for their money a couple times.
Is Josh McDaniels the OC?
I want to say yes. I like the Patriots this year.
Patriots.
Going up to Boston is hard to win no matter what.
Everything that Mike McDaniel isn't as a head coach,
Mike Vrabel is.
Mike Vrabel played at the highest level. Mike Vrabel will literally fight the biggest guy on his team, where the biggest guys on the Dolphins are shoving their head coach into a locker. I mean, I know that might seem a little silly, but there does come a certain level of, respect around an NFL locker room where these are all alphas. These are the top of the top athletes. They think they're the best. You see a guy like Mike Vrabel coach those Tennessee Titans teams who weren't always the most talented. He's a lot like, oh my gosh, I can't even. Mike Tomlin, where it's like no matter the talent level, he's squeezing the absolute most out of his talent. I think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs this year. I'll go that far. So I would say, and Foxborough sucks to play in.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be in the conversation. I think the AFC is so loaded, but there are going to be some teams like the Patriots, the Bengals, maybe the Dolphins are one of those teams, but that are going to be left out. I think the Patriots are going to be in that conversation, and I think the Falcons are going to drop this game. But still, 4-4, like I said, we're about to get into the time of the season where we start going through these games, and
we have Storm Norton back,
and you're going to be like win, and they're not going to win all these games, but like there are a lot of winnable games starting in Germany against the Colts, which I think they're going to pull out.
God, I hate this. Why do we have to go to Germany? Why do we have to go across the pond? I hate these games when it's my team. When it's another team, I love it. I love waking up at 9:30 and my fiance goes, "There's football on right now?" Yeah, honey, not walking, not going to the grocery store. I'm not doing anything. I'm staying right here, 9:30, right into the 1 o'clock slate, right into the 4:30, right. I'll have dip, but that's it. Except my team. Hate this. I can't even pick against Daniel Jones, which is so sad to say. That bum Daniel Jones might beat us.
The Colts?
I want to admit this until we get to the end. So I'm going to admit this until we get to the end and see what my schedule looks like.
I'm not scared. We're going to wake up and win that game. 5-4 is what I have the Falcons. And then they come back home, not just the homeland, back home to Atlanta to face the Panthers. And I'm going 2-0 against the Panthers. They might split against the Panthers. I'm with you. Everything you said, I'm not buying the Panthers. I'm just not buying it. I think they actually punched above their weight class last year, and I think they could even regress this year, and they weren't a very good team last year. I'm not sold on Bryce Young. There's no weapons. The offensive line isn't good. The defense is bad. I just don't see, unless Bryce Young, and I really had high hopes for him coming into the season. He just landed in such a bad spot. Unless Bryce Young becomes a top 10 quarterback, this team is going to win 5 or 6 games. I just don't see how they get, in the conversation for playoffs like Panthers fans are hoping for with the roster that they have.
They just don't have a good roster. I mean, it's that simple. I think Dave Canales is just being screwed, and he's going to get fired before he even gets a good roster to prove that he's a good coach. It sucks. But
and then we go back on the road to face another terrible roster, probably the worst roster but it is a rivalry game, the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to give them a win. I don't think they lose to the Saints. The Falcons usually split with the Saints. It usually doesn't throw records out the window. You cannot lose to the Saints this year. You just can't. It's a rivalry game. There's no reason you should be sleepwalking into a game with the New Orleans Saints no matter what. Raheem Morris is just as aware of that as anybody. He's been with the Falcons for years.
Ulbrich too.
Yeah. There's no reason they should sleepwalk into a game with the Saints. I don't care if they have the worst roster in the league. They need to sweep them this year. I think they'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those games. It's just a pride thing. I mean, who are you guys? And it feels like for the first time in a long time, this is a team that has some pride, that will throw a punch or two. And, that might seem immature, but I'd rather lose a game slugging Alvin Kamara and Cam Jordan than winning a game where, Jameis Winston, they're blowing us out. And Jameis Winston, instead of kneeling the clock out, they go on and score. Like, I'd rather get into a fight with those smelly people from New Orleans than be embarrassed. And it feels like we finally have a team who can, brings that edge.
Yeah. And then we get the Jets. Like I said.
Yeah, that's a bad team.
Like I said.
That's a bad team.
And I have them at 7-4 right now. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They go to New York.
The only thing that can stop the Falcons against the Jets is that grass up there in the Meadowlands. That's the only thing.
I'm going to give them.
I'm going to give a win.
I'm going to give them a loss.
I'm going to give them a win.
I just
Justin Fields
one
sucks.
Of these games,
no idea why we're still doing this. He sucks. Elijah Vera Tucker. That Steelers, they didn't score an offensive touchdown. That Steelers team. They lost Elijah Vera Tucker. They have absolutely nothing on that offensive side of the ball besides Garrett Wilson. The offensive line is shaky at best. I like Aaron Glenn. I really do. I think he's going to be an all right coach there. But no, win. I can't see them losing a game against unless
I have a hard time believing they're going to lose to the Jets. I think why I'm giving them a loss here is simply because of that stretch that starts with the Colts in Germany and then 2 divisional matchups and then on the road against the Jets. I think they lose one of those games.
You're going to be beat up. That's for sure.
I think they come away 3-1 out of that stretch. So whether it's the Jets or they drop a divisional game or lose in Germany, 3-1 in that stretch is where I have them, which is 7-5. We'll get to the final 3 weeks of the season, 5 weeks of the season, 5 weeks of the season coming up after the break. After a road matchup with the Jets, the Falcons head back home to take on the Seahawks. Now, y'all remember that Seahawks games last year? It was probably the worst games the Falcons played all season. Just an absolute embarrassment, turnovers, sacks, no protection.
Didn't look like they wanted to play.
Yeah. It's one of those games where it's like, I didn't think at that point in the season or any point in the season, the Falcons were a significantly worse team than the Seahawks. But on that given day, they were a 10 times worse team than the Seahawks. I think they win this game.
I don't think they win this game. I hate Sam Darnold with all of my might. I should have never gotten off the hate train last year. But I think Seattle's got a really, really, really good damn team. If Sam Darnold just doesn't piss his pants like he always does, which he will, then they're going to be a playoff team or fighting for a playoff spot. Their roster is just that good. I mean, their defense is nasty, absolutely nasty. So I'm going to give Seattle a win.
Then we have Tampa Bay on the road Thursday night football. I will give them a loss there. I think they split with the Bucs this season.
Yep, I give them a loss.
And then we got the final 3 stretch. So I have them 8-6.
I've got them 7-6.
And you like to think,
or what do I have? Because you gave the Colts a win.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm 7-6.
You'd like to think that 10-7 is probably the number you have to get to. I don't see 9-8 getting it. Maybe it does. But I just think there's too many good teams. Like you look at Green Bay, you look at Detroit, you look at Philadelphia, you look at Washington, you look at Tampa Bay, you look out west. You just mentioned the Seahawks, 49ers, Rams. Like I just think there's too many teams. I don't think
Cardinals probably think they've got something.
Yeah, I just think this year it's going to take you 10 wins.
Big D.
Stop.
+8 tonight or last night.
You hit it. Time of this recording, we don't know. Cardinals on the road. I think that's a loss.
I think that's a loss.
You know, traveling, we said it earlier, but traveling across the country is difficult. And, you know, if I'm going to give them a win at home against the Seahawks, because I think that's there's a big proponent there of them traveling across the country, I'm going to give them a loss against the Seahawks. I think you're hoping to go 1-1 there. You're hoping to go 1-1 there, no matter which way it goes.
So I'm 7-8 right now.
And that 7-7.
7-7.
And that means you need to win, and you need to win that Colts game. So you better give the Colts a win in Germany.
We'll see.
That means, in my thing, 8-7, Monday Night Football against the Rams, Saints at home to wrap up your season. I'm giving one in both. I think they will beat on Monday Night Football.
Is that in L.A.?
No, it's in Atlanta.
You ready for this?
What?
Matt Stafford's dead. He's officially dead. His body just can't take it. Damn good dog. And he's great. He won a Super Bowl, Fringe Hall of Famer. He's dead. His body just can't take it. A damn good dog replaces him, comes back. Stetson Bennett comes back to Georgia, but loses. I just think it could go in the Falcons fashion, right? It very similar to last year. You find yourself in a position where you need to win out. You win out and you're in. That Rams game is going to have playoff implications for both of those teams.
And you're probably beating a team that you're fighting for in the wild card spot.
100%.
Very similar to that Commanders game that
100%.
we had where we lost in overtime. This one's at home. I think finally, I'm hopeful speaking here. They just get the monkey off their back. By this time, Michael Penix has proven that he's the next franchise quarterback. You're at home. For the first time in years, people are believing in this team. Mercedes-Benz isn't a ghost town. You know, LA fans Rams fans aren't going to come out here and travel.
There might be less over. Rams fans than Bucs and Falcons fans, especially in LA.
Like, this will be a legitimate home environment to finally break that postseason curse, knowing that you have the lowly Saints at home next week, which will be another pretty good home environment, I imagine, of playoff implications. I just see it. I just see it. That's the way I'm looking at it. I think that game is going to decide where the Falcons make the playoffs, no matter how this, because we're not going to go 15 for 15 on all these picks. But that game, I think, whatever the Falcons are, maybe they're 9-7, maybe they're 8-7, maybe they're 9-6. That game could ultimately decide, I believe, will decide if they make the playoffs. I'm going to say they get the dub and then finish it out with the dub against the Saints.
Yeah, that Rams game, I didn't realize how late it was in the season. That's scary because you have that game and then the Saints, who you will probably have to beat that Saints team to win the division, I imagine.
On a short week again, but at least you're at home.
God, do you know how – I mean, it would be so Saints to come into that season finale with 3 wins, worst football – I mean, they have the number 1 pick. I mean, it's not even –
I fire Raheem Morris on the spot.
And we do not – we have to win and get in, and that's it. Last year – the Saints were beating the Bucs in the season finale, Week 18, and we lost to the Panthers. And had the Bucs lost to the Saints, first of all, it wouldn't have mattered because we lost to the Panthers, a bad Panthers team.
But none of that was known at the time.
Well, the games were going. The games were going on at the same time, and the Saints were shocking the world, leading the Bucs, I think, by like 2 scores at one point. And we were all thinking to ourselves, "Is this about to happen? Is this about to happen?" And then obviously, none of it mattered because the Bucs ended up coming back and winning, and the Falcons ended up losing to the Panthers. Anyway, this is a game that scares the absolute hell out of me. Scares the hell out of me because that Saints team is going to be so bad. They will have absolutely nothing to play for other than Falcons fans' tears. Mm-hmm. If that game decides the division, I'm scared.
Well, I'm not going to be scared going into that. I'm not. I'm not going to admittedly be scared about the Saints coming into our building. This Saints team.
You're foolish.
This Saints team. No, I'm not. I mean, because to me, we get to fire Raheem Morris after that. And it's like, okay. Like I'm going to find out if we have the right coach today. Because we've said it a million times. I mean, we're talking about this team sneaking into the playoffs, right? Or winning a bad division, getting in. This team's not going to win the Super Bowl. I hate to burst everyone's bubbles.
Or not?
They're not winning the Super Bowl, right?
No.
So if losing that game, gets Raheem Morris fired, he deserves it. He deserves it. I don't know if it will, but it should. If you can't beat that with everything on the line, a 7-year postseason drought at home in your building against the worst team in the league, and you have a playoff berth on the line, and you lose that game, and you're Raheem Morris, you should be fired on the spot. Go get the next guy. Oh, hey, we found our franchise quarterback. We figured that out this season, and we got that. We also figured out our head coach is crap. So to me, it's a win-win. It's a win-win. Now the problem with that is the Falcons probably be like, oh, well, we a lot of good stuff. Let's keep everyone.
We were this close.
Yeah, like Raheem almost got us there. All we had to do is beat the 1-15 Saints. I mean, listen, that to me, that would be
the other silver lining is they might, if they win that game, we'll find out enough about Raheem Morris. They'll also probably win out of the top overall pick or, the second overall pick.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be furious if it happens, but
there is no silver lining. We lose that game, it will be.
So are the Falcons making the playoffs?
Yes.
We are here. Bet it. Falcons Nation.
I'm going to
break
go
the streak.
9-8, but we win the division.
Ooh, you have the Bucs struggling. We're going to do a couple.
Well, they finished 9-8 as well, but we just won the division.
Okay. I like it. We're going to do a couple of college football predictions for the weekend's 2 biggest games coming up after the break. The biggest game of college football, week 2, is Michigan traveling to Oklahoma. Michigan, a 5-point underdog. Who do you got in this
Michigan
matchup?
Is a 5-point underdog? I thought they were favorites.
Nope.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to go with Michigan coming in up there and upsetting them. Wow, I didn't know that. I just think Bryce Underwood's that dude. I don't want to say it. I'm an LSU fan. He spurned us. He didn't really spurn us. He just followed the money. Can't blame the kid. But he's that guy. And Brent Venables is a tough draw. And Oklahoma's got dudes. It's not like Michigan's. Honestly, Oklahoma's roster might even be better. But I think Bryce Underwood is that dude.
I think Michigan wins too. And I think a lot of it has to do with Michigan's defense is very, very good. especially up front. Oklahoma's offensive line is a hodgepodge group that looked awful last week against a bad opponent. I think they're going to get dominated up front. I think this is John Mateer's best defense he's played in his career by maybe $1 billion. I mean, he literally has played absolutely nobody his entire career. I think he can hum it against scrubs. Let's say against scrub. Now, I do think Bryce Underwood will face some hiccups in this matchup. We talked about Venables, vegetables, whatever you want to call them. I prefer vegetables. I think he's good at one thing, coaching his defense. And I think at home, he's going to make things hard for Underwood.
This could be one of the biggest Oklahoma wins. Well, they beat Bama last year.
But I'm with you, though. At the end of the day, I think, vegetables is going to make things hard on Bryce Underwood. There'll be hiccups, maybe a turnover, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And at the end of the day, I think Underwood's going to come through. And I think he's kind of going to announce himself to the world as a freshman, which we don't see very often. We just don't see it very often. Every team.
You see the fifth-year senior transfer.
Yeah, it's Garrett Nussmeier, who's been around the program
Ward
forever.
now. It's
Carson Beck. Yeah. We don't see a ton of freshmen come in and make big-time plays. He's the reason that if you're a Michigan fan, you should be thrilled, because if it might not be this year, you're a playoff team or national championship contender, but it's coming.
And I hope if Michigan loses, it's on Sharon Moore. That way I can come up here on Monday and tell you,
well,
I'll
bet you this, because I think it's going to be a close game. There are going to be some coaching blunders. There are going to be some coaching blunders.
We got two goofballs on both sides.
I guarantee you we're going to be seeing some stuff where it's like, what are you doing? I mean, it took us 2 games for us to really last year, Oklahoma, Tennessee, like Jackson Arnold. They're just like, get out of the game. Get out of the game.
Well, I kind of love that. At that moment, I was like, yeah, he is acting like a total baby. Get him out of here. And then I was like, they'll bring him back the next week. And then they sat him. I was like, well, they'll bring him back the next week. And then he didn't play for 2 months.
Unbelievable stuff there from Vegetables. I like Michigan. I like Michigan in the upset as well. Bryce Underwood.
I like him outright.
Me too. So excited to see Bryce Underwood in this game. I hate it. I'm right there with you, but hey, I love great football, and this guy's going to be special. Everybody should tune into him and this Michigan-Oklahoma matchup on Saturday night. We both have Michigan upsetting Oklahoma. Alex, you got another dog for us this week. It's a sleepier week in college football. You got another one for us?
I just saw this line, and I have no idea why Arizona State is only a touchdown favorite over Mississippi State. Yes, I'm going there. Jeff Leby in the Bulldogs and those damn annoying Cowbells that are cheating. Doesn't matter. Coming to Stark Vegas, Jeff Leby can dial it up offensively. I mean, number 12, only a touchdown favorite. Something's wrong there. Dog of the week.
Yeah,
Bulldogs.
That pisses me off because that was where I was going. And it really
great minds.
It doesn't have too much to do with Mississippi State. I do think they're going to be better this year.
Weird.
And the line is weird, but I also just think Arizona State is way overrated. I mean, they had a good little run last year. I think they're going to regress.
It's a TCU run from a few years ago.
I think they're going to regress a ton this year. I think Sam Leavitt is not that good of a quarterback. They lost Cam Scattaboo, who I think was just the engine that just kept pushing that team to heights that nobody ever thought they could have raced. I mean, this was a team that was projected to win 4 games last year. They played way out of their shoes. They played an easy conference. They only won by 7 last year with all that stuff going for them against Mississippi State at home. So I think, there's something there. I'll give another one, though, because I had a backup just in case that's where you're going. Boston College against Mississippi State. Boston College, a 4.5-point underdog.
Mississippi State's playing 2
Michigan
games?
State. Michigan State. The M states. Michigan State. Yeah, Michigan State on the road. I don't know why Michigan State is a favorite over many, Power 4 teams, even at home. I like a lot of Bill O'Brien. Their quarterback's going to be better than a lot of people think. I know they lost Castellanos. They got a better quarterback. You're going to see that on Saturday. Boston College upsets Michigan State. That wraps up our show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be back with you next week.